In this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about the creation of primitives and 3D objects in 3ds Max. Okay, so in the last video, I did mention that the command panel was probably one of the most important parts of the 3ds Max interface. Now you're going to see why. In the command panel, we have different tabs over here. We have the tabs with different icons. For example, on the far right, we have this little hammer icon. This is the Utilities tab. And on the far left, we have this little icon that looks like a sun or some kind of small explosion. That's the Creation tab. Under the Creation tab, we have ourselves on the top here a few different buttons. We have a Geometry button, a Shapes button, Lights, Cameras, Helpers, Space Warps, and Systems. These different buttons allow you to create different objects in the command panel right here. Okay. The objects can range anything from particle systems to lights to cameras to all kinds of different things available to us in 3ds Max. Since we're going to be using polygon modeling in this tutorial, and that's pretty much the focus of this tutorial, polygon modeling, we're not going to go over things like systems and space warps or really even helpers too much, or cameras or lights. We're going to be focusing mainly on geometry. Now over here just to the right of geometry we have shapes. Shapes allows you to create lines in 3ds Max called splines. You can also create NURBS curves. Then we also have geometry over here. And this is probably the category of objects we're going to be using mainly in 3ds Max for the duration of this tutorial. Why? Because under the geometry button here we can create all kinds of geometric objects, 3D polygonal objects that we can use to get us started in modeling. See, in 3ds Max we can create objects from standard primitives like you can see here. Now if we go ahead and click on this drop down box, we have all kinds of different options for us. We can create standard primitives, we can create extended primitives, we can create particle systems, NURBS surfaces, we can create doors and windows and stairs and dynamics objects, all kinds of things. Now we're not going to be using every one of those categories. For example, we're not going to be creating particle systems. This is a polygon modeling tutorial, not a particle systems tutorial. So we're going to be looking at standard primitives and how to go ahead and create them. Now when I have standard primitives selected, you'll notice down here under the object type rollout, I have myself a few options here for different standard primitives that I can create. For example, I can get started with a simple box or a cone or a sphere or a cylinder, even a teapot or a plane or a pyramid. So you can choose from all these objects. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and maximize my viewport here just so I can see things a little bit clearer. I'm going to select box, and when it's in box mode you notice the button turns yellow. My mouse cursor also changes to this creation cursor, and if I click and drag in my viewport I can create this box, at least the bottom foundation here of the box. And I can go ahead and click and drag to make this any size I want. As soon as I let go of the left mouse button, I can just drag. Don't click, just drag your mouse up and down to give this box some height. Once I'm happy with the height, I can just click one time with the left mouse button and I'm done. Now if I click again and drag with the left mouse button, I'll continue to create more of these boxes. So it's a little bit tricky if you're not used to it. But as soon as you practice with it a little bit, it makes perfect sense. To get out of the box creation mode, just hit the right mouse button on your mouse and you'll be good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select all of these boxes here. And I'm going to hit delete to get rid of them. So that's how you create a simple box. Okay, let's get rid of this box here. We can create something else like a cylinder now. So let's click and drag. And as we drag out, we create the foundation of the cylinder. We let go of the mouse button, drag upwards, and then just hit the left mouse button one more time to end the creation there. And then right click to get out of the tool. And you can see you can create some pretty simple primitives very quickly here to get started. So if you need to create something like a table, you can get started with a primitive like a box, for example, to get you started very quickly, and then we start editing box and modeling. But we'll be going over that later. Okay, let's have a look at some of these extended primitives. We have objects like this Hydra, which we can just click and drag to create here in our viewport. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So I encourage you to, on your time, go ahead and check out some of these different primitives and go ahead and experiment with them, learn them, and create some of them to get a better idea of not only how to create them, but what kind of primitives are available to you in 3ds Max. Okay, we also have some other interesting primitives here. We can create doors in 3ds Max very quickly and easily. If we select doors, we have ourselves 3 options. We can create sliding doors, pivot doors, or bifold doors. So let's create a bifold door. I'm just going to click and drag here, and then drag outward, click again, and drag upwards like this. That's going to create some doors for me. Okay, so you could create some doors very quickly here in 3ds Max. Let me go ahead and delete that. I can also create some windows very quickly, and we are going to be taking advantage of this. The ability in 3ds Max to create things like this, doors and windows, very quickly and easily. We also have stairs. We can create a staircase very easily. So let's create a straight stair. We can click and drag and then create the width of these stairs and pull them up, and we can create some staircases very quickly and very easily in 3ds Max. Very powerful tools we have at our disposal. Okay, so that's how to create objects very quickly and easily in 3ds Max. We're going to be doing that a lot more later on in this tutorial when we put these tools to practical use. But for now, I think you get the idea of the basics of creating objects in 3ds Max. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to end this video here, and we're just going to go ahead and continue on the next one and talk about editing objects in 3ds Max.